That's awesome. Legit, just a water pistol.
I want to see this in gameplay. They're amazing for initiating ambushes. I remember the first time I threw a hand grenade, and I'm a pretty strong dude, but it was pretty like...
They never go as far as you think they're going to go.
This is the most modeled after a real firearm that I've seen so far.
This is the Tranquilizer pistol that you get in the game.
You know what this looks like? This looks like the very first paintball pistol that I ever used. And it was a pump pistol. I don't remember who made it, but like back when I was paintball gunning in high school, you know, it had a little pump underneath. It's pneumatic, which makes sense. And you know who this reminds me of? I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a great movie with Goose from Top Gun, Anthony Edwards, called Gotcha, where he and his buddies played paintball. They played paintball on campus.
Dude, you look that movie up. That's old school, man.
Oh man, so I watched it, I think in the middle of the night on my black and white TV when I was like, you know, a kid, you know, staying up too late. Because I had a black and white TV in my room. It was an extra TV, so I had one. I remember watching it, and he's this college kid that plays paintball on campus. Imagine trying to do that now, just randomly playing paintball on campus, right? Yeah, you're gonna get shot. And then he becomes a foreign exchange student, I think, to Russia, and gets involved with this like Russian spy or whatever. And then they come back, and like he ends up getting a tranquilizer gun that they use on the Tigers. I think it was Tigers at the university that they were studying, and he takes out all these like KGB agents trying to track down his hot Russian spy girlfriend.
What do you know? It's funny.
Gotcha.
It looks like it's a tranquilizer gun, but then you have a suppressor option. I wouldn't think that would be necessary for a tranquilizer gun.
You know, I want to sound really smart, but there's got to be a way to suppress. You know, because like how a suppressor works.
Would the noise from a tranquilizer gun be all that loud anyway?
Well, it can be. It depends upon how much. So like I would go hunting with my brother-in-law's brother, and he would often bring an air gun. It was a 22 caliber air gun, and that son of a bitch was loud. I bet there's a way to suppress it.
And it looks like there's no recoil. It's got to manually rack the slide every time he shoots.
You mean like it looks like a single shot?
Yeah.
So generally tranquilizer guns are single shot. You have to have a big ass magazine. I suppose you could do one in the grip or you put one out front, but they're fairly accurate out to certain ranges. I've never shot one, but if you shot a normal paintball pistol, especially the pump action one, generally they just take a CO2 cartridge. And I'm not sure, because I'm not, you know, an animal expert or whatever, I'm not sure how long it takes for these tranquilizers to like get into effect. I have a feeling it's not quite as quick as in the movies. I know I would probably take a couple.
It's like flip.
That looked cool. I mean, it was neat. I don't know if he'd be shooting it that far or that many people, but yeah, that was neat.
Right on, man. So this is the Uragan 5. I think this is a revolver designed to fire shotgun shells.
Oh, look at this. You know what this reminds me of? So the Chiappa Rhino, or the Chiappa, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Italian. It's really cool look. The reason this reminds me of that is most revolvers, here, hold on, like this is a double action 357. This is just a German, inexpensive, you know, gun. If you look here where the cylinder is and the barrel's on top, right? When you shoot, the barrel is up here, and of course, depending upon how you're gripping it, it's going to recoil a little bit. This gun, along with the Chiappa Rhino, it's actually down below. The barrel is much lower, so it has a lower center of gravity is correct, but the recoil impulse is much more straight back as opposed to upward. And if you look at that, the barrel is under, like, so the lower cylinder right here, right? It's shooting out the bottom, not the top.
Nice.
It's going to be much easier for recoil. And this is a top break. Most modern double action revolvers open on the side like that. That's a top break. Actually, one of the next single action revolvers I want to get, Smith & Wesson made this Schofield where it was a top break, and you pull a lever and the thing would come forward. It was a lot quicker to reload.
It's a powerful gun, man. I'd never fired too many revolvers before that. It was a lot of fun. I like the classics.
What caliber were you shooting?
All right, you guys gonna get me in the comment section. I think it was 45.
I know, we love it though. We love it.
Oh yeah, there you go. We love the comment section here.
What's interesting to me is how high up that optic is. So optics on pistols, optics have been used on revolvers for quite a while for hunting. Pistols are a new thing, but it's the wave of the future. But if you look at that, it's seated pretty high up, right? So you're gonna have to know 4-axis, your height, you know, versus where your bullet drop and everything. If you look at the flashlight and the laser, it's also sitting pretty low down there. So generally, like for a pistol, I like to have that dot as close to the barrel as possible. So, and since this is a short range weapon, like if you're aiming right, you're gonna hit right here. So that's something you gotta keep in mind with that.
Zorn KP. Whoa! The hand cannon.
What is this? So this looks like a readily available military flare guns. So that's kind of what the body looks like. And then it just, is that a big ass grenade on the end? Yeah.
Yeah, just a good old hand grenade launcher.
You're using some Kentucky windage there, my friend. There's like, I don't know, let's look at these sights. Oh, okay, so it's got some like lights. I wonder if they're adjustable for range. Because, I mean, you fired 203s before.
Yeah,
Did you have
like,
that
like
goofy sight thing?
the leaf sight? Yeah, they get the leaf sight there, and you can see the drop, and you just kind of line up the distance with whatever hashtag is on there, or a hash mark is on there.
Hashtag 203. Because we eventually would just take them off, because we get kind of good at, like, you know, figuring out where it was going.
Oh, pretty good. No, I never fired them enough to get that good at it, but that's pretty impressive, man. I love the idea of stun weapons in games because they're so effective, and I wish that they were that effective in real life.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have beanbag rounds, less than lethal, and, like, you know, you can still kill someone with that. You know, there was a protester, and I don't mean like a mostly peaceful protester. This was before all that stuff. A legitimate peaceful protester that was hit in the head. I think he was a Marine Corps veteran with a beanbag, less than lethal, and yeah, he had some brain damage going on. You got to be careful with that stuff.
What? What is this? That's awesome. Legit, just a water pistol.
I want to see this in gameplay.
I love the short, effective range.
So when I was in elementary school, we would always have the whole elementary school, our class, you know. So like if I was in 4th grade and my sister was like in 1st or something, we'd have those two classes. We'd have the end of the year water fight. And they would just be all the kids over. And eventually, like, I got like a Super Soaker 200. Which back in the day, man, that was like, holy crap, right? I got one of those for my birthday. And then I exchanged it and got this backpack water gun where it was like 2 gallons you put on your back and you go and then I might or might not have turned it into a flamethrower and then immediately got rid of it because it worked really well, and I thought for sure that I would totally kill myself or get into trouble with it. So that might have happened when I was a kid.
Probably a good idea. And this is exactly how you might expect it to be. It's just a water gun. So ridiculous. I wonder if anybody out there, let me know if there's any creative gameplay that you can point us towards with somebody doing some amazing things with a water gun. All right, G44 Bullpup Assault Rifle.
Okay, so what's weird about this is how long that barrel is. What makes Bullpups awesome, and I don't have one here to show you today, but here, I'll show you. So this is just my work gun, right? This is just a standard AR, BCM. I like BCM. This is a standard rifle, and I like them. I'm a big guy, but a Bullpup means all of this stuff that's going on right here is actually back here. AUG, the Steyr AUG, it's the original. It can be better balanced, right? Because a lot of the weight's back here and it's resting on you, but also it's really good for room clearing because you can have, so this standard 16-inch barrel, but a standard 16-inch barrel on a Bullpup is like way back here because the barrel comes all the way past all the action and everything. And so they're really, really good for tight quarters and room clearing, but you still get the same velocity that you would on a standard configured rifle.
Yeah, it does look a little funky. It looks very smooth lines, you know, almost like P90 style. Everything very smooth and sleek.
What I like about it is it looks realistic. I mean, there's a few that it kind of looks like. That's the neat thing about Bullpups too, is like they all have a very, very unique look. My buddy Vince shot a bunch of Steyr AUGs. I love those. I love the Steyr AUG. The AUG. Springfield Armory just started to introduce, I think they call it the Hellion. They're sticking with some weird biblical theme. But they have this Croatian. I believe it's a Croatian actual standard issue military rifle. And then you got the French FAMAS. Good luck finding one of those in the States if you have one. All the other Bullpups people like, except for the British standard issue one. They don't like it so much that like their special operations just get one. But yeah, so watch the way he does the mag change there. And you see the ejectors on the right side. A lot of Bullpups, they'll be able to switch it, right? So if you're a left-handed shooter or whatever, it's not hitting you in the face. But then there are others where they just drop directly beneath, too, the expended rounds.
I don't think I've ever experienced anything where the rounds just drop down. That's interesting.
As more and more Bullpups come out, they learn from the mistakes or learn from the ones that come out before. Like I said, most of the modern ones now you can either switch which side or they shoot directly down.
Nice.
It's funny. It looks like a much shorter barrel in gameplay than when they hold it up.
The 80s, the Cold War era. So I wonder if they didn't get a lot of inspiration for a lot of the weapons from that era.
Oh, is that when this game takes place?
Yeah, I think it takes place like in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And if you notice that, it says conversion. So right now you're shooting a pistol caliber bullet. So you can call that a carbine. We were shooting rifle rounds earlier. Now, I don't know about the effectiveness of this or why you would want to do that. We're making a lot of advances right now. So one of the reasons, like a standard, we'll say AR-15, because that's what most Americans are familiar with. That's America's rifle. The shorter barrel you go, the less range you have, because what makes that round so effective is velocity. And you need a lot of barrel for velocity, right? Like 20-inch rifle, right? That's what we were using in Vietnam. So when you get shorter, it doesn't work as well. Well, there's other rounds now, like 300 Blackout, that they burn their powder a lot quicker. And so they're fairly effective coming out of a shorter barrel. With a pistol caliber carbine, there still is effective use for it, but why not have that extra oomph and that extra power of a short barreled rifle? You know what I'm saying?
What do do you think about the action and the sounds and stuff like that? Looking pretty impressive. This is kind of a newer game.
Sounds good, you know. It looks like he's having a little trouble controlling that. So I've only fired the AUG that I shot in full auto. It's so smooth, man. It's so incredibly smooth. So I don't know if Snake needs to do some push-ups or something, or if the recoil on that is just pretty devastating where it's moving around quite a bit.
Patch. Maybe that has something to do with it.
He doesn't have the eye patch anymore? He got the bionic eye?
No, he does. He's got an eye patch.
Oh, he does have an eye patch. I mean, it looked realistic. It looked cool. I liked it.
RAS-TV SG side-by-side hunting shotgun.
Oh,
hey, look at that. I feel like we're in Red Dead Redemption 2 right now.
So these are effective self-defense weapons. And actually, before there was a lot of repeating arms, before there was pump-action shotguns, these were known as coach guns. A lot of people think that they just like spread like crazy. Well, the shorter you cut the barrel down, you know, they do spread out more, but you still have to aim them.
Oh, check that scope out.
Oh, yeah, look at that. That seems kind of... I mean, it's got to be an old-school night vision scope, which I don't know why you would put that on something like that, because even with slugs, you're like, good luck.
That's like almost the length of the barrel.
Now, like I said, if you only have one gun and this is what you got to get quick at reloading, but the thing about these are they're very reliable. There's not a lot of using parts. You can get inserts, so you can stick everything from like 22 long rifle to like 45 Colt, whatever, in an insert, so you can shoot multiple things out. It won't be as accurate. That big old 80s flashlight on there.
I love that, man.
When they first started putting lights on, they used this weird blue diver's light. The light I have on my work gun, I got to replace it, but this was more than bright enough. But this is like a weak-ass light. This is what I had on my saw when I was in Iraq in 2004. The difference in technology, this is an old-school incandescent light compared to like modern like LED lights, you know? Like this thing is super bright compared to that.
You know, it's funny that he has the scope and the flashlight. Are we really reaching out and touching someone with a shotgun, or are there like conversions that you can do to kind of get some distance on it?
Most shotguns are smooth bore, right? Because if they were rifled, they'd get all messed up from shooting, you know, the pellets out of them. The slugs are usually rifled themselves. And so with the slug, you can reach out and touch them. I usually keep like 4, either double out buck, or I often keep 4 shot. I think 4 shot's a great self-defense load. I always keep 2 slugs on a fighting gun in case I have to reach out and touch someone.
So we get a longer barrel conversion on this one. We're still on the shotgun.
Obviously, the longer the barrel, the more velocity. Now, there is a point of diminishing returns, but the longer velocity and the more accuracy, right? Now, I don't think you're going to benefit as much with a smooth bore shotgun with the longer barrel as you would for a rifle. But, you know, it's just more time for that thing to, like, be contained while it's spinning out of there. And, yeah, you can make these shots. Like, what he's shooting right there, that looks like it's 100 meters away. You can make those shots with a slug.
Bullpup shotgun. Now this is interesting.
Now there's a few of these. Actually, one of the gun shops I visited yesterday was like, hey, if you want to come in and do this, we have this is actually in some video games. I forget which specific one it was. These are all made up guns that I've seen so far, except for that squirt gun.
So you think they took their inspiration from the real world and then made something up, kind of took a little bit of artistic license?
What they're doing here though is so far everything I've seen looks pretty darn realistic. You know, I mean that like weird tiny little grenade launcher is kind of weird because you're using it looks like modified flare gun, so maybe you're using a flare cartridge to launch that, so maybe that's realistic. But this thing, I mean, they all look realistic, and that's definitely like that forward pistol grip is definitely from that era. You ever shoot a chopped M60? They're so much fun. The SEALs in Vietnam would carry, they had a pistol grip that was angled like that. We got, good old peep sights on the back. I like that 870 that I picked up earlier. I ordered that from the factory when I got back from Iraq. I was driving around Madison with my buddy, and I'm like, hey, let's go get shotguns. He's like, yeah. And I got all the bells and whistles except for ghost rings. Every time I pick it up, I'm like, oh, I should have ordered it with ghost rings from the factory. I like it for a combat shotgun, having like peep sights or ghost rings instead of just having a bead on there. For me personally, it's much more quicker acquiring targets. So, I mean, that thing was cool. I liked it.
Caseless grenade launcher.
The caseless grenade launcher. Now,
yeah,
that's
caseless. What is that? I'm not really sure. I'm up to speed on that.
Kill me in the comments, but I think like the G44 is it? Well, anyways, they came out with this like machine gun prototype that used caseless ammunition, and it was encased in like this little plastic explosive, and it was really cool. Man, doing that with a grenade sounds kind of scary to me, though. I don't know how they would do that.
You got that booster. I love that magnifier, man.
I was going to comment on that, and then the buttstock. The only thing that seems out of place on that is the buttstock. That looks like a much more modern, like almost like a Daniel Defense kind of looking thing. Everything else looks old school on it. So, and the pistol grip looks almost Eastern Bloc. Yeah, the only thing that looks modern is just the buttstock on that thing. It's a weird sound too, and it could be, maybe they did their research because that caseless ammunition. I wonder what.
Yeah, it's got some oomph to it. It's not that kind of hollow boom.
Boom. Well, that's because a lot of grenade launchers are made out of like an aluminum alloy because they don't need the same amount of pressure, you know, like a rifle bullet.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, yeah.
I think it also has to do with being so big too, you know what I mean? Where if it was like a tiny little thing, it'd need to be like stronger metal.
Sleep rounds? Alright!
Wait, how do these work?
Man,
like
did you hear about that incident in Russia, I think it was, where some terrorists took over a theater, like a dance hall, like a concert, and they actually used sleep gas to put everybody to sleep, and it didn't work out well for some people. Some people actually died, but it's...
They don't have a very high, like, hostage rescue ratio for kill bad guys.
Yeah, right? But they stopped it from happening.
Well, yeah, they definitely stopped it.
Triple barrel!
What is this craziness?
What's going on? I smell artistic license.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. Like, I wonder what the ignition is for that. You know what I mean? Is it like some electric thing going down? Well, it's faceless too. That looks. I mean, the explosions look real. That's cool. That's kind of what it looks like. You know what I mean? An HE round going down range. Man, it just seems like a lot.
All right, Zamdo RGL 220. This is a 40 Mike grenade launcher.
Okay, here we go. So there are a bunch of these out there, and actually, if you're following what's going on in Ukraine, they got donated a bunch of 6-shooter grenade launchers, so you're seeing them in the field. One thing that these things are excellent at, if you're in like a long-range reconnaissance role unit or a hunter-killer team or something like that, they're amazing for initiating ambushes. I remember the first time I threw a hand grenade, and I'm a pretty strong dude, but it was pretty like...
They never go as far as you think they're gonna go.
But like, yeah, they don't. And like, should I throw like a baseball? Or should I do the, you know, like the weird, like, and like, I just remember, like, yeah, right? You also at like infantry school, that's the first time any of the instructors are nice to you. You get in the foxhole, like, hey, man, where you from? You're like, what? Because you're shocked at like, they're so like, why are you so
They just
polite?
don't
like,
want you to kill them. Yeah, they want you to be calm, relax, have fun. Yeah. They got the distance meter inside the scope.
Oh, yeah. These things are awesome, and they're very specific. So, like, where you would want one in a military setting or a combat setting is initiating ambushes or, like, you know, dismounted vehicle operations could be one thing if you don't have an automatic grenade launcher on that. But they're also really, really good at less than lethal.
And if you are a robot from the future and you are looking to smoke out a bunch of cops from the safety of a high-technology building which you are attempting to destroy, like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator 2.
Or mostly peaceful protesters.
Or mostly peaceful protesters.
Being mostly peaceful, and you need to, like, quell their mostly peacefulness.
Ooh, look at that.
Okay, so this is the most modeled after a real firearm that I've seen so far.
Can you recall?
SVD.
SVD, okay.
It looks like it's modeled after the SVD.
Is that a pumped up, is that a modified Dragunov, the SVD? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Or
Yeah,
is that
that's what it is a Dragunov. Okay. And so this looks like they took some artistic liberty with it. One of the things I really like about it is that bakelite style foregrip or handguard. That's real sexy looking. If you're really into like, Eastern Bloc rifles, getting like bakelite is like really cool.
Okay.
Oh, neat. And they have different like styles, and that's so those butt stocks. Neither one of us went to sniper school.
Neither. No. Cameron might know a little bit more about that than I would.
I'm betting that this is going to be, because I don't know in this world, a 7.62 by 5.4 round. That's a Russian round that's been around forever. It's a big bullet that flies really far and hits really hard, and it's a great round. And that round right there is why you get level 4 plates. And what's interesting too about like Russian sniper rifles, they're more used in like a DMR pattern. So it's interesting watching, the different like styles and different cultures like fighting. Like I really like the NCO structure and the command structure of Western forces. But what Eastern Bloc does with their designated riflemen snipers has been really effective, and we actually started to adopt some of their techniques. So it wasn't just used primarily as a sniper, but a highly accurate rifleman. That's more so than your average rifleman.
Yeah, the classic box. This is like so classic. This is from the very first game when you can use a box to sneak around.
Okay. Oh, I remember this.
I love that, man. It's the ultimate disguise. Yeah, that's some creative gameplay right there.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Aha! Surprise!
This is actually effective camouflage in Los Angeles. That's crazy.
It's alright, comrade. I am one of you. Aha! But I'm not. Squirt gun in your face.
Does Homeboy have a silhouette of a target on his box that he's hiding?
Oh my gosh, that's completely inappropriate. Hey, don't you are a married soldier. Don't you look at that girl. No, don't get close. Go away. No, don't touch it. This guy has obviously been out in the field for way too long. Whoa, are we the Predator now? Yeah, we get the stealth camouflage, man.
It's been fun watching people try to develop this stuff and like the different techniques that they're using to do it, like with cameras and fiber optics and.
Or if you're a horribly abusive and controlling husband who wants to torture his wife. That's the Invisible Man joke, editors. You can look that up. He's got a mirror suit.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, where is this reference? Like, what happened, man?
Yeah, it's an Invisible Man joke. What is that? Is that the cigar? It's so funny. This has been in from the very beginning as well, just being able to smoke. And it doesn't really do you much good. It actually, I think, maybe takes away from your oxygen ultimately, but...
Smoking cigars can increase your testosterone, so maybe he just needs that little bit of an edge, you know?
Oh, wow. Dude, I love it. You're like the Predator, man.
So this isn't the same thing that we saw earlier, but it looks like it, though.
It looks like you're in a special suit, parasite armor, where you have different abilities or whatever. This is awesome looking. Look at that.
Do you absorb other people's, like, life energy or something? Or?
Oh, yeah, bulletproof, baby. This is like the guys that robbed that Bank of America back in the 90s, and they had the full body armor.
Woo!
Cops couldn't stop them.
That's one of the 2 reasons police started carrying, like, modern rifles, too. The other reason, honestly, was just officers of small stature and female officers had a hard time running the 12-gauge shotgun, and the AR-15 is just a better rifle.
Whoa, was that the Bionic Man sound? I love that. The bio detector, that's awesome. Oh, you can sound out people like Bat Echo technology.
Oh, like sonar.
Yeah, like sonar. That's awesome. And you've got the little snap with your prosthetic arm. Yeah, Falcon Punch. I love all the prosthetics, man. James Cameron, all my prosthetics, my biotech guys. Come on, when are we going to get the bionic arms and those high-powered arms and stuff like that? And when do we get the rocket launcher arm? Dude, you got the stun arm? Ah, the power of Thor. I love that.
That is one of my favorite force powers, even if it is the dark side. Like, I don't know, I like electricity.
What? Look at this. This is awesome. You can fire off these little, like, discs and stuff.
They look like maxi fuses for a car. Like rotating jumbo maxi fuses.
Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. Thank you for joining us. Let us know where people can find you out on the internet.
You can follow me on Instagram at Mav11B. I'll have links to all my other social medias there.
And check out the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. See you soon, folks.